All right, today we're going to embark on a real hero's journey. Now, this isn't a story about capes or supervillains. It's a story of courage, it's a story of science, and most importantly, the incredible bond between us and our dogs. We're about to go inside the mind of a hero who's battling an enemy that nobody can see. And this right here, this is our starting point. For way too long, these kinds of scars have been, dismissed or just misunderstood. But now, science is finally validating what so many of us have known in our hearts all along. So for our first act, we're going to confront a long-held skepticism head-on. It's all about establishing the undeniable, scientific reality of what these amazing dogs are actually going through. This has been the question for decades, right? People wonder, are we just projecting our own human emotions onto our pets, or is this something real, something we can actually prove? Well, the answer from the scientific community is a huge, resounding yes. We have moved so far beyond just stories and anecdotes. We now have neurobiological research that gives us undeniable proof that the trauma these dogs feel has a real physiological basis in their brains. And make no mistake, this is a formal, recognized condition. Veterinary behaviorists have actually adapted the diagnostic frameworks from human psychology to identify and treat it in dogs. What's so important to get here is that this isn't just bad behavior, it's a real clinical diagnosis. Okay, so now let's go deeper. Let's really get inside their head and see how this battle unfolds on a neurological level. Because this isn't a choice for them, it's a war being waged inside their own brain. Think of it like this. Imagine the brain's alarm system, the amygdala, gets hijacked. It's like the on switch gets stuck. So it just starts firing at anything that even vaguely resembles the original threat. And that traps the dog in this constant state of fight or flight. So in a healthy system, right, those stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, they're supposed to fade away once the danger's gone. But with PTSD, the whole system just breaks. The dog's body is constantly being poisoned by its own stress chemistry, and this creates a vicious cycle where the fear is physically fueling more fear. And that brings us to something really fascinating and kind of heartbreaking, the nature of traumatic memory. A traumatic event isn't stored like a neat little story. Instead, it shatters into these sensory fragments, a sound, a smell, a feeling. And when a trigger brings those fragments up, it's not a memory. It's a flashback. The dog is literally re-experiencing the terror as if it's happening all over again, right now. So you can see the stark contrast here, right? A healthy brain can process things, it can regulate fear, but a traumatized brain, it's locked in survival mode. The rational parts of the brain are essentially offline, completely overruled by this primal command to just survive. You simply can't reason with a brain that's under siege. Okay, so we've seen the internal battle, but how does that actually manifest on the outside? Let's take a minute to learn how to decode the signals our dogs are sending us, to really understand their language of fear. And I really want to stress this. These are not signs of a bad dog. That hypervigilance, that's an exhausted nervous system that just can't find the off switch. Avoidance is a smart, strategic retreat to a place that feels safe. And that aggression that seems to come out of nowhere, so often it's just a desperate attempt to create distance from something scary. These are all calls for help. Okay, this next idea, trigger stalking, is so critical for understanding those moments where your dog just seems to explode out of nowhere. See, one small stressor might be manageable, but throughout the day, these little triggers accumulate. They pile up like weights on the dog's nervous system. The dropped keys in the evening isn't the real problem. It's just the final straw that makes the whole thing collapse. Now, I know a diagnosis like this can feel completely overwhelming. But I promise you, it is not the end of the story. In fact, it's the beginning of the hero's quest for healing. It's a journey to help that dog's nervous system finally feel safe in the here and now. And every good quest needs a map, right? The approach here is multimodal, meaning it's got a few different parts. It always starts with a professional guide, a veterinary behaviorist, who can then help you learn new skills through behavior modification, and crucially, help you create a safe home environment, a fortress of solitude where that healing can really begin. So you can see how these pillars all work together. Environmental management, that's the foundation. Healing just can't happen in a chaotic world. Behavior modification is the core therapy. That's the active work of rewiring the brain. And sometimes medication can be a crucial support just to lower that baseline of anxiety enough to make all that learning and healing possible. And let's break down these tools a little bit because each one has a really specific job. Desensitization and counterconditioning work to change the dog's emotional response, literally rewiring trigger equals danger to trigger equals something good is about to happen. Medication isn't a sedative, it's a tool to help correct a biochemical imbalance. And management? Well, that creates predictability, which to an anxious brain is the very definition of safety. All right, we're coming to the final and honestly, the most important part of this entire quest, your role in all of this. You are not just an owner or a trainer. You are the indispensable partner in this journey. So, this is your mission. First, radical patience. I mean it. Progress is going to be a spiral, not a straight line. Second, manage your own emotions, because your calm is your dog's anchor. They feed off of it. Also, build a team so you don't have to do this alone. And above all else, be your dog's advocate. You are their voice in a world that can feel incredibly overwhelming. I love this quote because it just perfectly captures your ultimate role here. You are creating a safe harbor for them to retreat to. You're providing a steady anchor in their emotional storm, and you are interpreting the world for them, showing your dog moment by moment that they are finally truly safe with you. So, let's leave with this final thought. The quest here isn't about erasing the past to get a normal dog back. It's about building resilience. It's about helping them become a secure, happy dog who can navigate their world with confidence. It's about co-authoring a brand new chapter in their story, one that's defined not by trauma, but by an unbreakable bond of safety and trust.